welcome to Asteroid Defense Part 4. We're going to program the asteroids. Should be pretty quick and easy. Let's go ahead and get those knocked out. We want to have an event. We're going to tell it to hide whenever we show it on the program. Next, we want to have another event hat block, and we're going to say when asteroid 1 is received, we're going to tell it to wait 1 second, just a little bit of delay there to make sure everything's organized in the program. We're going to tell it to switch to a costume, and we want the starting costume, which is the asteroid. Right here are the list of the costumes. You can see which one I picked there. Next, we want to make sure all the graphic effects are cleared, okay? This just makes sure anything that might have been possibly sitting around with the graphics on changing it, we know for certain that it's gone, okay? And its starting location is going to be 240 on the x-axis. That means this asteroid will always start on the right-hand side. We could have done a new number of different things with random variables, like we're going to do right here, but we're just going to keep it coming in from the 240 position on the x-axis right here. However, we're going to change where it falls on the y-axis as its starting location, and we'll choose a negative 130. Whoops, to a positive 130 right here. Okay, and again, I just kind of played around with these numbers to find what I like. If I chose a number that was closer to, say, just it's really, I chose 130 because the halfway point between this is 360, which is probably about 180 on each side. If I went to 180, that means sometimes the asteroid would be appearing way out here on the edge of the screen, and it may not look right. So we just kind of went with that. Looks, we want to tell it to show. Then these asteroids, they're pretty smart. We're going to tell them to always point towards the Earth, okay? Now you can do a lot of different things. Sometimes you could set it up where an asteroid may not actually point exactly towards the Earth. You can kind of change it up a little bit, have some fun with that. So you have to put the user in a situation where, is it going to hit or is it not going to hit? Which one do I put all my concentration into? And right here, we're going to put these repeat until blocks with the OR operators right here, and we're going to tell it to keep repeating a certain motion, and we're going to tell it to move. Let's say 0.5. We want to go kind of slow because this game's kind of hard for somebody that's still learning a little bit about the XY coordinates. And we want it to wait 0.01 seconds in between each half step that it takes. Half step is based upon 0.5. We're going to keep repeating this until it's touching. All right. We're going to say unless it's touching the Earth. Whoops. The beacon. Oh, I'm sorry, not the beacon. If it's touching the rocket, there you are, rocket. And you'll notice we have that last OR condition. We want to say if its X position is going to be less than negative 255. Okay, so that means if the asteroid, let's say this is asteroid 1, it could fly all the way over here. Say it misses the Earth for whatever reason. Once it gets out to negative 255, which is way out here on the left-hand side of the stage, it's going to disappear. Okay, and we just want to make sure that it floats off, and if it gets to the edge, it stops it, and it's going to go back to a starting location. That way we can reuse it over and over and over again, okay? Because we don't want to create new objects every time we need to use them. Next, we need another OR condition, and we want to say, oh, I shouldn't have done that. I'm going to right-click, duplicate, put that right there. So if it's touching the Earth or the rocket, so if this is true, it's touching one of these, now we're going to double-check to see which one it's touching exactly, all right? And we want to say if it's touching the Earth or the rocket, we are going to send the bomb effects, which you just saw that message. That was the one that caused the bomb to make its sounds. And then we want to choose one called Asteroid 1 Explosion, and we have not made that yet. So let's go ahead and create that message, Asteroid 1 Explosion, and we'll go ahead and program Asteroid 1 Explosion here in a second. let me figure out what I'm doing here. I need an if condition right below this. And what we're doing here is we're going to say, okay, if it's touching the rocket specifically, we want to do something in addition to what happens here. And we want to send a message called scoreboard, because remember that one actually changed the score in the program. So we want to send the message of saying, hey, change the score for the user. Okay, and if it's not touching these two, we're going to come down to this else section, and we're going to tell it to broadcast itself. Asteroid 1 message. The Asteroid 1 message, when it gets sent, it calls the same method right here. This is kind of an example of something called recursion. Okay, recursion means it recursively keeps calling itself. It's kind of an advanced program, and I'm sure some people would disagree with me calling this recursion, but for now, you know, I'm gonna roll with it. I'm gonna call this recursion. All right, next we want to have some effects here for when we receive the Asteroid 1 explosion message, which came from right here. And we want to tell it to, we're going to change its costume. And remember, we got to slow the costume changes down so that we can see them on the screen. But we don't want them to take too long because we want the animation to be kind of fast since we're destroying objects. And we could be destroying lots of objects at one time. Let's change the ghost effect right there by, say, let's say 20. Because we want to kind of disappear but not completely disappear, because we still want the user to see it. This is just me, these numbers right here. You could have put something else on there. This is what I use just because I kind of like the way it looked. You might like something different. And duplicate. Oh no, there you go. I don't want that. I want you. Get rid of you. And we're going to tell it to hide once it's done. Okay, so we'll go through this costume change right here, and you can see it right there where it disappears. Okay, and so we'll tell it to hide. Then we're going to tell it to wait 1 second. Okay, and then we will tell it to broadcast its name again. And that means this, once it's destroyed, it's going to call itself again over here. And that way the asteroid keeps coming back over and over and over again. Okay, and that's kind of the hardest part of programming these things. Now what we have to do is we have to duplicate all this for the other asteroids. So I'm going to drag this hat block over here to Asteroid 2 and Asteroid 3. If you click on these, they should be there. Come back to Asteroid 1. I'm going to drag this over for Asteroid 2 and drag the same thing over for Asteroid 3. And the Asteroid 1 explosion, put that on Asteroid 2 and for Asteroid 3. Now let's go to Asteroid 2, and we need to change up some of its names. Whenever you get your code all stacked up on top of each other, you can right click off into the blank white gray area, choose cleanup. It'll organize everything for you. Pretty nice feature for Scratch. Back in the older versions, they didn't have that. Back in my day, we had to do it the old-fashioned way and click on it ourselves. Okay, so we need to change all the instances of the broadcast messages for this. Okay, so Asteroid 2, remember we set these up in the previous videos. So Asteroid 2 right there, Asteroid 1 explosion, we didn't set that up for multiple asteroids, so we'll need to go in and create a new message, and we'll call it Asteroid 2 explosion. There we are. Did I spell that right? I hope I did. I can't see that far down. I guess that means I'm getting old. Okay, anyhow, come over here and switch this one to Asteroid 2 explosion. Now, if your asteroids aren't working, you need to make sure that you have all these methods, or excuse me, all these broadcast messages, you know, lining up. Okay, we don't need to worry about the costumes. The costumes are proprietary or independent or localized, whichever way you want to say it, to each of the different sprites. Okay, so they technically own the costumes. So the costume names and all that kind of stuff, it doesn't really matter. What's important is the messages, because that is what caused the connection of the program to take place. Let's come here to Asteroid 3. I'm going to right click and choose clean up, and we want to choose Asteroid 3, And down here, Asteroid 3, change that one to Asteroid 3. And we need to change this one to Asteroid 3 Explosion. Click on OK. And then change that one to Asteroid 3 Explosion. And we should be good to go. Let me verify that I changed that one. Asteroid 1, Asteroid 1, Asteroid 1, Asteroid 1. And Asteroid 2, Asteroid 2, Asteroid 2. Come back to our stage. Looks good. Let's click on play. Alright, so, uh-oh. Something's going on. Wow, what was happening there? Somebody is right in the middle. There's Asteroid 3. Looks like Asteroid 3 is going to need a little bit of adjustment here, okay, because it seems to be appearing right here in the middle. Oh my goodness gracious. Asteroid 1, okay, I made a huge error. I told it to go to Earth. I don't want it to go to Earth. I want it to point towards the Earth. So, if you saw that error earlier, and you heard me just sitting here talking about it and not doing anything about it, I apologize. So we want to always point towards the Earth. Okay, that makes much more sense. There's nothing worse than making one of these videos and then it goes wrong. I guess there is something worse than that. Okay, but for now, we'll say that's the worst thing taking place. Oh my. Which one is right there? Asteroid 3? Oh, I didn't switch Asteroid 3. I could have swore I've done that. Point towards Earth. There we go. And okay, it's not exploding. Thank goodness. Now notice all three of them come right here from the right hand side. That's not really what I want to look like in my program, so let's change that up a little bit here. We're going to, let's change this up a little bit, make it different. Let's pick a random number for Asteroid 2 for something that's going to be on the negative 240 side. So it's going to be on the, whoa, it's 240. Let's make it negative 240, so it's going to show up on the left-hand side. Again, we'll have the random y-axis going negative 130 to positive 130. And here we're going to switch this because Asteroid 1, which we originally copied, was coming in from the right, and if it passed negative 255, it would disappear. Here we got Asteroid, we're on Asteroid 3. I know I said 2 earlier, sorry. When Asteroid 3 is coming in from the left, it's going to be passing positive 255. So we need to change that to 255. Then right click and choose the little angle bracket that faces to the left, or the little alligator if you're into that kind of stuff. The alligator is facing left because it's going to eat up the X position. And let's see, Asteroid 2, let's see which one does this do here. Let's get crazy here, okay? We're going to say Asteroid 2, we're going to make it a random X position. So negative 240 to positive 240. And we're going to set its Y position to 180. And I'm going to get rid of this X position. I'm going to go with Y position because we're going to tell it to start from someplace on this range of the X coordinates up here at positive 180 on the Y-axis. And we're going to keep telling it to keep moving down until it touches, you know, the Earth or the rocket, and until it's below negative 165. Let's go ahead and run that. And oh, here they come. There's 1, 2, and where's my third one? Where are you, Asteroid 2? Let's figure out where Asteroid 2 is coming from. Okay, I found that, well, actually there was no error. Whenever I reset the program, it shows up in the proper location. It must have been down below this lower location or touching something. That probably caused some of the error. So your program should work, and hopefully it does. And let's say negative 25. And you should be able to fire and blow up the rockets. All right. Thanks for watching. My name's Ryan. If you have any questions, send me an email, leave a comment. Keep programming. If you want some extensions, sign up for our mailing list or subscribe to the channel and get access to all the other rubrics and stuff. But a quick little challenge would be to add some extra asteroids that come from multiple directions. Maybe one asteroid that comes from anywhere 360 degrees around the Earth. Okay, so there you go. Good luck and keep programming. You will get much, much better at this stuff with the more practice you get. Thanks a lot, and we'll see you in the next video.